Welcome to the Manifestation Babe podcast. My name is Catherine Zinkina, and I'm a manifestation expert, master mindset coach, and multiple seven-figure entrepreneur. I'm obsessed with helping you achieve everything that you once thought was impossible. If you're looking to massively up-level your life, your finances, your relationships, your productivity and success, then you have come to the right place. My goal in this podcast is to help you see the infinite potential within yourself to be, do, and have anything that your heart desires. Think of this podcast as your weekly dose of mindset development to help you maximize who you are and where you're going. Leave it to me to provide you with the tools, the resources, the strategies, and teachings that you need to manifest a reality wilder than your wildest dreams. I know we're about to have so much fun together, so thank you so much for pushing play today. And now let's begin. Hello, gorgeous souls, and welcome back to the Manifestation Babe podcast. I hope you are having an incredible day today, wherever you are in the world, whatever day of the week it is, whatever time of the day it is. I don't know if you've noticed, but over the next few months here on the Manifestation Babe podcast, we are going to be diving so much deeper into topics around business and money, especially money mindset and the manifestation of money, to get ready for the launches of two of my favorite programs. One is my favorite business program, as well as my favorite money mindset program. So if you are someone who is struggling to manifest more money in your life and more sales in your business, I got your back, baby. You already know that I don't do things conventionally, and that's why I get unconventional results. And I'm going to give you the goods to be able to do the very same. So today I want to talk about sales and selling. And the title of this podcast is My Secret to Making Effortless Sales in Your Business. And that's because I really want to give you guys the thing that's truly going to make selling in your business as an effortless activity. Like, you do not have to try very hard. You don't have to work really hard in order for you to create the impact and the income and the sales and the transformations with your business, whatever that business might be. You see, sales is a craft that I used to work really hard on because I freaking hated selling. When I got into my first business, which was my MLM, I would cringe the first, 100 times that I would make a sale in my business. Like, it took me forever to get used to it because we in society have so many stories around what it means to be a salesperson. And we look at sales as this sleazy, icky, disgusting thing when we don't realize that sales is literally the oxygen of business. And to be human even is to sell. And we're constantly selling things, not just in business. Like, if you're not in business, this still applies to you because you are constantly selling your ideas and your beliefs and your opinions to other people. You are selling things to your children. You're selling things to your spouse. You're selling things to your students. If you're a teacher, you're selling things to yourself constantly. And it took me a while to recognize this. And I always looked at sales as like this craft that I had to work really hard on. And this craft that I have been training myself to do over the last 5 to 6 years of being in business. And I thought that I was just the type of person that, had to get used to it, right? I had to just learn certain jargon, like there's certain words and phrases to use. There's language to be able to talk, smoothly to anyone and sell anything to them. And so I, of course, invested a lot of money into sales trainings over the last many years, 5 to 6 years. However, what I have learned through this experience and up until the point to where I really started to break through, especially with manifestation, of course, a huge reason why it became so successful so fast is because I was able to work through a lot of the beliefs that I had around selling and behind selling. And I learned that there was so much more than just the tactical and practical sales psychology stuff, which I'm super into, a huge nerd about. I invest so much into learning the psychology of selling. I think it's fascinating. I think it's awesome. But if I weren't to work through the beliefs that I had behind selling that is preventing me from being this saleswoman that I am today, like it's just become a part of me where I don't even have to call myself that because that just is me. And I am in the business of making sales, and so are you, and so is all of us, regardless of whether we are in business or not. Things just become effortless, you guys. You do not have to like sit there and really think and freak out and create stories and pressure yourself and feel like you're being sleazy and all these things. Like you really don't even get in your head anymore after I share with you what I want to share with you today. And so I really had to let go of these beliefs that we so commonly have. And these are not like unique to me at all whatsoever, right? Like I'm sure to some degree we can all relate to this. I had to let go of the belief that selling is sleazy and that everyone hates being sold to. I remember I used to struggle pitching my programs and pitching my fitness solutions and all that stuff that I've sold in the past because I believed that everyone hated being sold to. Right. And so many people believe that those who are selling are taking advantage of people. And because I held that belief around other people and how they view people who are selling, I would always go out of my way to just like desperately give off this energy of like, no, I'm not taking advantage of you. Look at what a great person I am. And I'm not just selling things to you. Look how much I'm giving. And it just became so messy. And I realized that, sure, there's totally people who are taking advantage of people, who are selling in a very sleazy way. There's totally people who hate being sold to. However, we as a society have created this story and have allowed those few people to spoil our perspectives of the majority of others who are selling to us and how we're selling to other people. I did some research, as I do a little bit here and there before I record on a topic, because I was really curious to learn about the origin of the word sell. Because the way I now have reprogrammed in my mind selling means to serve, right? And so I went into the Googles and I learned that in Old English, which comes from like the 4th or 5th century or something like that, the word to sell literally means to give. And so the way to see selling as an activity, as a process, is that you are giving a product or service or something else in exchange for someone else giving you money, which, newsflash, money is just energy. So you are giving something in exchange for someone else giving you something. And your product, service, whatever it is, can also be seen as energy. You're providing someone with energy to maximize their life or make their life easier or solve some sort of problem. And then they are giving you money in exchange. So then you can use that money to be able to put into something else in order to give more energy back into the world. And it's a process of giving on both sides. And as long as you are a kind-hearted, generous, genuinely good person, I highly doubt you're actually scamming people. In the dictionary, to scam someone, and I looked this up again, means to deceive and defraud someone. And I don't know, but I just highly doubt that if you're listening to my podcast, and you're a heart-centered entrepreneur, that you ever set out, that you ever made it a mission for yourself to go out and deceive or defraud someone with your program, coaching services, products, etc. Like, I just highly doubt that you're someone here with the intention of deceiving or defrauding people. And if you are, well, that's between you and karma. So, why allow this to hold yourself back, right? Why allow this to be your story? Because here's the truth. We are all in sales. As I already mentioned, and towards the beginning of this podcast episode, sales is the oxygen of business and the oxygen of many aspects of our life. To be human is to sell. You're selling your kids on eating broccoli, or you're selling your spouse on watching your favorite movie, or you're selling yourself on going to the gym and exercising instead of sitting on your couch. Like, we're constantly selling ourselves and other people. Like, when you watch an amazing movie, right? You go to the movie theater, you watch an amazing movie, you come home, you text all your friends, you're like, "Oh my God, you guys, you guys have to watch this movie. It was so good. I loved it. The kids loved it. My husband, my wife loved it. Like everybody loved it. It was so good. It's so funny. You guys have to watch this movie." And then guess what? Your friends go and actually watch that movie. You just sold them on a movie. Like you just made the movie theater more money from your words, from your influence, from how you talked about the movie, from the energy that you exuded around this movie. And we don't realize that. We think that only when this transaction goes into our bank account, that that's a sale, but it's so much more than that. And you can see how it's just intermixed and integrated into every single aspect of your life. And if selling is that important, shouldn't we reframe our story around selling? Do you see guys why this is so important, not just in business, but like so many other areas in your life? The greatest thing I ever heard from a sales presentation was actually from one of my good friends, Jen Casey. And she said this years ago, guys, I think like in early 2018. She was on stage. We were both speaking at the same event. And this quote stuck with me ever since then. She said, "You're either selling someone your solution or they are selling you their limitation." I'm going to say that again. And I'm probably paraphrasing this because again, like it's not like I went back to my notes from that event. This is just literally what stuck in my head. And I give Jen credit for this. You're either selling someone your solution or they are selling you their limitation. And if you're not confidently selling them your solution, guys, then guess what? What does that mean? You know, if that quote's true, if that belief is true, then you have already bought their limitation. So by preventing yourself from making sales in your business, you are buying limitations from other people. You're buying the fact that they have this problem that they cannot fix. And you have created so many stories around selling that you are so afraid to offer them your solution. And so essentially, you've bought their limitation. You just keep buying their limitations. And so they're actually doing the selling on you. And another way of looking at this is if you're not selling them your solution, eventually someone else will. And that's not to like see this as competition, because again, I don't believe in competition. I believe that there's so much abundance and so much to go around, and we all have different people that we're impacting. But it's just to say that like with the right energy, people will eventually buy, and they will eventually buy either someone else's programs and products or your programs and products. And for the benefit of your own life, wouldn't you prefer that it's your own products and services, especially with all the hard work and effort that you put into them? So here's the secret, and we're getting down to the secret. I spend the biggest portion of my energy working on the not language, not the tactics, not the strategies, even though they are key and they do make up of that like last final punch when it comes to selling. I would say 90%, 90 to 99% of sales is about the energy of sales. And here's where I see most people get this thing wrong. Most people are selling to convince people to buy. And what they end up doing is they end up crafting their offerings, their sales pages, their webinars, their emails, their social posts, their Instagram stories and Instagram posts, etc. And they're infusing that with the energy of convincing other people, which gives off a more desperate and attached vibration. And noticing this and noticing myself doing it, especially because I learn a lot from my mistakes, guys. And this is why I love sharing this stuff with you, because like literally I can save you years. I can shave years off of your own journey of like trial and error and really help you like nail this thing down and start practicing it for yourself and getting results so much faster, because I just spent so much time and energy convincing people and being so afraid of selling them at the same time that of course I was stuck, right? Of course, my business didn't thrive in the beginning. And what I noticed about myself and what I noticed, like just kind of watching other people and just seeing like how they're doing things and how some of my favorite salespeople, like for instance, my very first biggest investment I ever made in my personal development, in my life, and my business was dropping 15 grand at a Tony Robbins event. And that's part of my story of like how I got here. And that was like the craziest, biggest leap of faith I ever made. Right. And I noticed, I'm like, wait a second, like Tony Robbins went on stage and he literally pitched for like 2 hours the next level. And this next level was his next two events, which was Life and Wealth Mastery and Date with Destiny. And this entire time I was so hooked in, and I never got mad or judged Tony for pitching his program. I didn't even like, it was done in such a beautiful way that I didn't feel like I was getting pitched to. I felt like it was such an obvious yes. And that Tony just made it like fun, where he was just sharing like, this is what you're going to get, and this is your transformation. He's like really speaking to that next level, and not so much of like, you need this, here's all the benefits, here's all the features, and if you don't buy, this is not going to happen, and blah, 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 like whatever it is. Just the energy that he came from, I was like, wow. And thank God he pitched that program that night, because if I didn't make that investment, I literally would not be here. That is the thing that started. That was the very seed that was planted that got me to quantum leap so fast in my life. And, just like looking at some other masters of selling and how they do it in such an effortless way and make so much money helping people and transforming people. And obviously the people who are not actually, taking advantage of people but the people who are actually helping people, I learned to sell with the thought. And this is the key, you guys. I want to make sure that you're listening to this difference maker. I learned to sell with the thought, the belief that everyone has already said yes to buying. And that my sales page, my opt-in, my emails, my posts, whatever it is that I'm putting out there is just for me to help get people more excited about something that they already said yes to. And I no longer spend even an ounce believing that I'm convincing people who have said no to my programs. I don't even focus on the people who said no. The people who are not interested, I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm going to speak to the people who are interested and the people who already are saying yes. And I believe that there are thousands of people who want to be in my energy, who are already signing up. And my launches then, and the reason why I like to speak so much on like the reframe around launches is because when you look at sales in this way, launches are no longer stressful. Why would they be stressful? These people already said yes, and now your launch is the fun part. This is why my team and I look like so forward to launches, is because this is the fun part of exciting people for what they're in for and the transformation that they're about to receive. This is my favorite thing to talk about, because now it's like, look at what's going to happen because you already said yes. And that right there is the key difference maker. When you sell, you must speak to the transformation that they have already committed to. And what you're doing with your launches and while you're selling is you're just supporting them in their leap. And you have to come to your launches or selling periods. Like maybe you don't have launches in your business. Maybe you have a completely different business than I do. Who cares? Whatever it is, that moment when you're doing the active selling, right? Maybe it's an enrollment period, or maybe you have a sale going on, or whatever it is, that selling period, you must approach with the end in mind. And so what I do before all my launches, if you're curious, is I create a vision, and I already know, right? How do I know? I just make a decision, because I know that whatever I decide is what's going to manifest. I already know I sold X amount of spots into my program. I pick a number. I'm like 500, 1,000, 800, whatever, 20, who cares? And from there, I use my intuition to reverse engineer. I tap into the version of myself who's already sold X amount of spots. And then I ask that version of myself, using my higher self, my intuition, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, to kind of reverse engineer and go, okay, so how did I market this time? What did I write in my sales page? What was my sales copy that got people over the edge excited about being in the program? How many live streams did I do? Like, was there any strategic podcast interviews that I did? How exactly did I show up on a day-to-day basis? What was and this is most important, how did I feel the entire time when I launched? What was my energy like the entire time that I launched? What made people go, F yeah, I want to be in her program because I want what she has, right? And yes, this is such a huge component. And I do want to speak to the fact that action and strategy is a very important part of sales as well. Like if you're not investing in learning how to write sales copy and like certain sales language that does actually has been proven scientifically to work and all that stuff, like you're not going to get maximum results. You're not going to get like the most results possible. But I would say 90% is energy. 90% is the psychology of yourself, not just the psychology of tapping into how to make sales, but the psychology psychology of your own self. That is such a huge, 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 huge piece. And this is so unconventional, and a lot of people don't talk about this. And a lot of people are so focused on the tactics and strategies and mechanics, not realizing that yes, that's important, but maybe makes up for 10%. And so if you're just focusing on that, you're literally letting go of 90% of your success. So the key is to remember to tap into that energy of everyone already said yes to you. Your success is already inevitable. It's done. It's done. There's nothing to worry about. There's no convincing. There's no stress, right? And the thing is that when you approach this with that kind of mindset, you'll find that your confidence will absolutely soar with your sales, right? And that confidence is the energy that people are constantly buying into. My mantra of 2019 was, I want what she has. And I developed that from a conversation that I had with one of my mentors of 2018, Lewis Howes, where him and I did our last call of the year because I was in his mastermind. And he was like, Catherine, and so funny because I was talking to him about how energetically I was feeling drained and all this stuff and like, oh my God, and how I feel like I need to get my health in order. And long story short, that's how I discovered, that's when I went on a journey of discovering that I had breast implants that were sucking my life out of me. And I got a surgery to remove them. And I essentially got my life back and my health back. And that was like the intention that I set to find out what was actually getting in my way of feeling my best. And I remember in expressing that to Lewis, he was like, Catherine, the energy that you need to come from in 2019 is do everything for yourself, for your energy, for your health that makes people look at you and go, I want what she has. Because that kind of energy is just so freaking magnetic. And I agreed with him. And that's what I did. And in 2019, of course, my business grew. And of course, like so many amazing things happened is because I exuded that energy. And that energy, that confidence is what people are buying into. That, like if there's you and someone else who makes the exact same program or the exact same service or the exact same product, and that person is not very confident in themselves and doesn't really believe in themselves versus you who is confident in yourself and does believe in yourself, which person do you think people are going to invest in, right? You're going to invest in the person who goes like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh my God. Oh no. Like, oh man, I feel like she's going to say no. Oh, or the person who goes, hey, here's me, right? Like, here's me and this is what I got and here's my life and here's the proof. It's worked for me. It's worked for my students. If you say no, that's on you. If you say yes, then I'm going to show you how to do all this, right? Like I'm just oversimplifying this, but you can just see that in the difference between those two, there's an energy that people feel. And there's one energy that makes people want to be around you. And there's an energy where people are like, no, not really. Right. And so your energy is what people are buying more than the how-tos. And that's not to say the how-tos are important, right? Because obviously like your program better be something that's worth people's money. Like don't just put nothing out there and then sell it to someone and then expect to keep making more sales. It's got to be a transformative product, right? But anyway, your energy during a launch or anytime you're engaging in sales, which is all the time, is the make it or break it that will determine the results you get. So this is how I stay detached. And this is what I see so many entrepreneurs missing. They're engaging and convincing people to buy from them. But if you think about it, when was the last time, like think about the last time you had a salesperson come up to you and convince you to purchase something, like convince you, what did you do? Did you buy from them or did you run away? And the first thing that comes to mind is someone who I always run away from, which is, you know, those kiosks at the mall, like in the center, where they're constantly like trying to throw their product at you and like convince you to try it out and convince you to buy it. I'm the person who literally looks the other way and just keeps walking or looking at my phone and just keeps walking. And it's not because I'm a mean person. It's not because I don't think they're nice or anything like that, or I'm just trying to be rude. It's that literally energetically, I just can't stand that energy. It's not the energy I want to be in. And so of course, if you're not making sales to the degree that you want to in your business and you're convincing people to buy your program, then that's a clue of why people aren't buying. So if you're in the process of gearing up for a launch or you're currently promoting something, here's what I want to leave you with. Ask yourself this question. How many people already said yes to me? And how can I make this the most fun that I and they especially have ever had in filling out that checkout form and leaping into my products, programs, services, whatever it is? Let me know how this changes things for you for the next launch that you have. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what breakthroughs you have, because this is my secret and the reason why I just don't work very hard anymore to sell things. I used to. So I've been there, done that. This is why I can speak on this, guys. This is why I know both ends of the spectrum. But even with my last launch, when I think about it, with my last MBA launch, I barely promoted the program. And, that launch compared to my usual launches was our biggest launch yet. And that's because of the energy I came from. Guys, this is a gift. It is a privilege and a blessing to be inside of this program. I know it works, and I'm not going to convince you, right? We're just going to have fun. And if you come inside, here's what might happen. Here are some of the results. Here's some of the benefits and all that stuff. And if you don't, that's okay, whatever, right? So this stuff truly works. I challenge you to try it out. Tag me at Manifestation Babe in the stories. I want to know your breakthrough, your aha moment, and then definitely sign up for the waitlist for Business by Design at manifestyourbusinessbydesign.com, which is that business program that I'm obsessed with, that I am actually giving a ton of bonuses for. And get ready to have your mind blown with the things that I have in store for you guys for the next couple months. And I will catch you in the next episode. Mwah. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you absolutely loved what you heard today, be sure to share it with me by leaving a review on iTunes so that I can keep the good stuff coming your way. If you aren't already following me on social media, come soak up the extra inspiration on Instagram by following at Manifestation Babe or visiting my website at manifestationbabe.com. I love and adore you so much and can't wait to connect with you in the next episode. In the meantime, go out there and manifest some magic.